Hello everyone. So welcome back. And in this video, in the last video, basically we have finished the rook's movement and the bishop's movement. So in this video, I'm just going to cover up the next piece, and the name of the piece is the queen. Uh, Most of the people basically think that the queen is the most important piece in a chess game, but that's not the true case. In chess, actually, the king, it's you actually. So the king, uh, sorry. So the king is the most important piece in a chess game. Yeah, we can say that the queen is the most powerful piece because the queen usually covers long distance. Means it can travel from one place to other place. It can travel on many different places. So sometimes it becomes very difficult to calculate the queen's moves, or maybe it can be a time consuming. Obviously practice makes you perfect. Okay, so yeah, so in this video I'm just going to cover up the queen's movement and maybe the king's movement. And yeah, king's movement will be easy, so I'll be able to cover that. And in the next video I'm just going to cover up the knight's movement. So let's start now. Let me arrange the queen on the board. If you remember the rook's movement, then for the rook, we can consider two signs. I have covered that in the last video. If you want, you can check it out. I'll just put the link in the description as well as in the I button. So you can just go through that video and you will be able to understand how to move the rook and the bishop. So let's coming back to the point, the queen. So as I already told you, the queen is the most powerful piece in a chess game, and yeah, that's it. That's about the queen. Now let's learn the queen's movement a little bit. So if you want to move the queen, then basically the queen is the combination of rook and the bishop. So if you remember the rook and if you remember the bishop, then you know the queen. So let's see how to move the queen. The queen can move like a rook. That means the queen can move in a plus sign or in vertical and horizontal line. Also, the queen can move like a bishop. That means the queen can move in diagonals as well. So that's it. Where the arrows are going in the screen, like in the chessboard or on the chessboard, in all those squares the queen can go. Means in both yellow and green arrows, wherever the arrows are going right now on the board, in all those squares the queen, that this d4 queen can travel. So this is the way you can actually move the queen, and there is no other way. Now if you like, we will be just doing one or two puzzles as usual, at least just one puzzle for the queen, because we have to calculate little extra. So I'm just arranging one position here. I'm arranging a pawn here. Let me change the position for the queen. Yeah, suppose this is the position and there is a condition that black is not going to play anything, so don't consider any move from black side. Black pawn is not going to move, black is not going to kill your queen, nothing. So now here comes the question, where will you take your queen if you want to kill the black pawn on the second move? So you can just pause the video, you can just try to find out the answers. I'll just tell you in the beginning only how many answers are possible. So let me just give me some like few seconds. Let me calculate. So 12 answers are there. I hope I'm not wrong. So you can just find out the answers. If you want, you can just pause the video. Now I'm just going to tell the answer. Now, as I already told you, the queen can actually, means queen is the combination of rook and bishop. That means the queen can move like a rook and like a bishop. So let's try to find the answer in parts. So let's first of all consider the vertical line, and just consider that your queen has moved to g8 square, and you just have to find out whether the queen will be able to kill that black pawn from the g8 or not. So yeah, here it's possible. Means you can take the queen to g8, and from g8 it can kill the pawn. So g8 is the first answer. From the g7, if you move the queen to g7, from g7 it can't kill the pawn. Now listen to the condition again. I told you the condition is in the question itself. I have asked you the question that on the second move you must be able to kill the black pawn. Means you can't say that the queen can go to g7 first, then it can go here, and then it will kill. It will take three moves. So that is not going to be the answer. So here from the g7, if your queen goes to g7, from g7 it cannot kill the black pawn, so that's not the answer. So you can just find out the answer for each and every square here. For example, if your queen goes on g6, from g6 also the queen will not be able to kill the pawn, so that's not the answer. This is the correct one. So in this vertical line, if you just try to calculate from, means if you just try to find out all the squares, then g8 is possible, g5 is possible, and g2 is also possible. Means if you take your queen to g2, from g2 it can kill the pawn. So in this vertical line, only these three squares are possible. So vertical line is over. Now let's go for the horizontal line or rank. So here, if you just want to see, now you can just find out from by putting your finger or just pointing towards each and every square over here. But these, like this one, or this one are not possible. Okay, so in this position only available squares are these three. Let me remove all the squares which are not working here. So these are the three squares, like c4, d4 and e4. And even I told you the condition in the beginning that black is not going to kill anything. I mean, black is not going to play anything. So here black is not going to kill your queen. So that's what the answer for this one. Like for the horizontal line, these three will be the answers. Now even consider the diagonal. So suppose if you are just considering this diagonal first, then you can just find out where the queen can go to kill the black pawn. And here queen can go in these three squares, from where the queen will be able to kill the black pawn. Other squares are there, queen can go, but from those squares the queen will not be able to kill the black pawn. Now let's go for the next one. So this is the next one. So here this one and this one. So these are the squares from where the queen will be able to kill the pawn. So you can just count the squares. I think I had given the 12 answers, like 12 squares are possible. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. Okay, so yeah, basically in the beginning I had just calculated the same thing. So this is the way you have to move the queen, you have to calculate. And that's one of the interesting pieces on the chessboard. Everybody, means almost everyone, likes the queen. And if your queen is active, like very active on the board, if you are just playing aggressively with your queen, then basically you can just destroy your opponent's king. So it's very important that, like, you should be knowing, and you must be calculating all the possible lines and diagonals of your queen all the time in your game. Anyways, now let's move to the next piece. And the next piece is the king. This piece is basically the most important piece on the chessboard. So here, if you want to move the king, then it's pretty easy. Like, it's the easiest piece for understanding. Now, how to move the king? King moves just one step everywhere. So it can just travel in all directions, but just one step. Means it cannot travel multiple squares at the same time. Means the king will not be able to move like this. That is not allowed. King can just go one step. So that's it for the king. This is the easiest piece, I already told you. So, like, uh, I hope it's like enough for the king's movement. So in this video, we have just done two pieces. One is the queen. For the queen is the combination of rook and the bishop. And the second one is the king. King is the easiest piece, but it is the most important piece. So if you want to move the king, then basically the king can just move one step in all the directions. That's it. So I think we have done Rook's movement. Like, let's try to cover up again from the beginning. In the first video, I was just telling you some things regarding chessboard. I told you what are the ranks, files, names for the squares, how many squares are there, everything. In the second video, we tried to start we have started the piece movement and Rook and Bishop. I think we have covered in that. In this one, this is the third one. In this one, I have tried telling you the queen's movement and the king's movement. I hope you're enjoying, and yeah, we'll meet you next time. So bye bye, have a nice day.